What is going on, Crisis Actors? It is episode 1008 of Pop Culture Crisis. My name is Brett. I am here once again with my co-host. Would you introduce yourself, please?
Hello, Crisis Actors. It's Mary. You should be glad. I'll start off by saying that Brett covered the Paramount bid instead of doing it with me because I would have crashed out. The whole thing just gives me the creeps. And, you know, it's a relief that that was done and over with before I even showed up today.
That's okay. That's okay.
Yeah. The world's crazy. It's only getting crazier.
The news broke last night, of course, as everything does, like right as we're going live or right as we're about to finish up the episode. And thought about recording at home, but I had to get like a bunch of stuff in order, get some information in order. So I recorded it today. The thing is with those videos is like, it's not like people come to our channel for like industry projections and stuff like that.
Not normally.
Me, I just like it because I'm just laughing all the way to like, you know, no doesn't mean no if you have enough money. That's what we
have
learned.
a 20, by the way, speaking of which, from Shane H. Wilder. Happy Friday, Brett and Mary. Just thought I would let y'all know the Padlock Cell, my new short story, is out. Libby even shared it earlier today. It is a Catholic psychological horror that is more thought-provoking than scary.
Well, we've got a story today that could have possibly involved a padlock cell, and we're going to get into that in a little bit. It's true.
Let's not draw any comparisons before we know. Shane, give us the pitch, if you could. Give us an elevator pitch in the chat.
There you go.
Let us know what it's about.
Guys, we got a bunch of stuff to get into today, but before we get started, I want everybody to knock. I guess it's intercession maxing, or if you're secular, knock on wood. Mary's internet was doing funny things before the show, so we are fingers crossed that everything goes well. And if for some reason her internet cuts out and she has to reconnect, I'm just going to start rambling. I'm not even going to cover a topic. I'm just going to start babbling about my day.
Do we think that YouTube is back on good behavior?
Yes.
Or
yesterday seemed fine in the chat. So people were checking. Guys, so like I always say, hit the like button on the video, subscribe to the channel if you are new here and you have not subscribed here yet already. Please and thank you. Remember to share the episodes and the segments out with everybody in your life that you both love and hate. The more people that you share the show with, the faster this channel can grow. Also remember that channel memberships are now open. We have added more emoticons. I have added Phil judging you. So if you want to leave an like an emoticon that wants to tell somebody, perhaps me, perhaps Mary, that you're judging whatever we're saying, Phil is right there in the box, but that is only available to you if you are a channel member. Remember, you can also gift memberships to other people, which is fantastic, and it's a lot of fun. It's great. People are using the emoticons on there. We got Mocha on there. I do plan to add Toast, and I plan to add Chloe once we have the access to them.
The new merch is great, by the way, in case you hadn't shilled that yesterday.
That was next. That was literally next.
Okay.
No, yeah, I was going to put it on screen right here. So we do have a bunch of new products for you guys if you are looking to pick up merch from the store. I myself am not a huge fan of like one of the reasons, like we did these shirts down here that they've got like a big statement there, but one of the reasons I liked the blackout shirt there is that I'm just not a huge fan of a ton of logo. So we've got these new shirts here that have the logo on the front, but it's on the, it's on the chest area where the pocket would normally be, and then a slightly bigger logo on back. So we've got this one here.
I like the minimalist design there.
So we got that one here in both men's and women's versions of it, and then this one was all Jessica, which I really, really like that one as well. It keeps the t-shirt theme there. And then, of course, you guys, you can get a brand new Lady Mocha Justice for Mocha mug, which is, of course, what everybody needs. I was like, can you?
That was clever. You thought of that yourself?
The scales?
Dang.
Yeah.
Well, like that Mocha would be Lady Justice.
I said so. Back like a month ago, it was probably longer than that. I'm like, is it possible to like turn Mocha into Lady Justice, or am I asking too much for like our tiny little merch store? But she made it happen. And then there's also the classic Mocha mug, if perhaps you're just looking for that one. Either way, you can now support getting Justice for Mocha right there. And then also this one, which I'm a fan of as well. This one's available in white, which is, of course, I don't know if that pattern necessarily has a name, but everybody who's my age knows that pattern because Hollywood has since made you think it was more prevalent than it was when you were a kid. Like there's like AI pictures where it's like whole buildings look like they're just tattered with this pattern, but it's great.
It gives me like Saved by the Bell
Absolutely.
vibes. Definitely.
So that is available, guys.
Like that design that was on the back of the bus seats when you were on a field trip.
Well, it was mainly on cups. It was on like I don't know what that material was called. It wasn't plastic.
Every movie theater cup in Drake and Josh as well, which was in the 2000s, not the 90s.
Yeah. So
we have another 20 from Cora Nelson. Dearest PCC friends, I humbly request that you put up a poll. Which is the most well-known, recognizable pop culture villain, Darth Vader or the Joker, plus whomever else you might feel should be on there.
Okay, well, let's add this now.
Most recognizable pop culture villain. So, okay, a couple of options being Darth Vader and the Joker. Who else would be on there?
I feel like Darth Vader is the answer, but that might be my own... I don't know who else would. Who else? Is there anybody in the chat giving any suggestions? Let me know. We'll leave it open for 1 minute to add one more name. So if anybody asks,
no, not Thanos.
Not Thanos.
That's not even a question. Like, of course, he's below.
Moriarty, Moriarty from Sherlock Holmes.
Not even close to as recognizable.
I'm trying to think of older properties.
Who's like a real contender here? Like,
chat, let us know. You see anything there? Is anybody listening? Check in the chat because I'm locked out of it right now until I finish the poll. Check.
Superman's villains were like a rock.
Lex Luthor. No, Lex Luthor is a very recognizable villain. In fact, I'm going to add Lex Luthor.
He's not going to win. I can tell.
No, I don't think so.
Also, I'm thinking like Darth Vader or the Joker. Which one is more culturally well known and
We're gonna run these three. Everybody, go ahead and leave your votes in there so we can all find out what you people think the answer is, ladies and gentlemen. Also, thank you to Glitches for joining as a channel member. We appreciate it. And Drummer 8725. I always wonder what the numbers mean for people when they add their numbers to a name.
Yeah, I never can tell.
I mean, back in the days of an AOL Instant Messenger screen name, it was always your area code.
You would put that in your screen name for anyone to see?
And well, I mean, what are they gonna do? Like it was
there was just no concept of internet safety.
But it's just your phone area code. That's not gonna tell them anything. Like
tells them more than you think.
Yeah, well, back then they would have contended with like really slow internet speeds to find stuff out about you. So
true,
it was what it was. All right, what are we getting into today? Oh, by the way, I put in the, you know what? I'm going to pin it right here. I have pinned the shop. It's also in the description for the video. So if you want to pick up merch, you can do that over there. We got a couple new channel members as well. Saranko Productions has joined. Thank you so much. And then Flowbell and Ether, what is that? ETH Real Secrets. There we go. I said it the way I said it. Unless it's Ether Real Secrets. But that's what it is, guys. What are we getting into today? We've got a lot of stuff to talk about. The Daily Wire has picked up actor Jonathan Majors. It's going to be an amazing movie that they are making with Bonfire Legend, which is, of course, Dallas Sanye. I've actually had him on the channel to do an interview for Pendragon when it was getting made, but they have become very, very well known for working with what you would call canceled actors. They're currently in the process of making a movie with Armie Hammer. Of course, they worked with Gina Carano on Terror on the Prairie. So there is a lot of stuff that they have done. We will talk about Jonathan Majors getting hired by the Daily Wire. We'll listen to Ben Shapiro's video, kind of, I guess, clapping back at the haters,
because we are whiny little bitches.
That's us.
That's what we are.
Yes. So we're going to talk about that. Also, actor Crispin Glover, you probably know him from Back to the Future. He is accused of really horrible stuff to the point where I don't even want to say what it is right now, but we will get into that as well. I mean, it's sad, but that's what it is. So we will get into that as well. Also, Lana Del Rey was she was kind of slandered by this article. I don't even know if I would call it slandered. It was the most polite slandering I've seen in quite some time, but depending on what you think her political views are, she could consider it slandering. So we'll get into that whole thing. She is one to cause many a think piece. Also, we are going to talk about something that has been ruining lives for longer than you can imagine. The only problem is nobody knew what to call it, but we do know now, ladies and gentlemen, and that's food misogyny.
There's so many different types of misogyny, but This one has existed for as long as food has existed, as long as we've had stomachs.
As long as men have been in control of the power structures that have been holding women back for a century, a millennia, food misogyny has been a thing. So we've got that. We got a bunch of other stuff. If you're ready, Mary, we can go. Are you ready?
Yeah, let's go.
Let's go for it then.
So back on February 18th, there was a scoop from this account named My Time to Shine Hello, claiming that Jonathan Majors was doing a movie with Ben Shapiro and the Daily Wire. And a bunch of people thought this was a dubious claim, although it was confirmed yesterday afternoon by Ben Shapiro himself. Jonathan Majors was at the center of a huge controversy and trial back in 2023, in which he was actually convicted of, I believe, third-degree assault and second-degree harassment against his ex-girlfriend, Grace Jabari.
Yeah, I've got that.
I've got that here. Heavily back then.
He avoided jail time and harassment at sentencing. It says, in December, Majors was found guilty on 2 misdemeanor charges in a domestic violence case, assault in the 3rd degree and harassment in the 2nd degree, relating to a March 2023 argument with his former girlfriend, Grace Jabari. During the same trial, the jury found Majors not guilty of intentional assault in the 3rd degree and aggravated harassment in the 2nd degree, indicating that they did not believe Majors went into the situation intending to harm Jabari.
Yeah, so the reason that we covered this so often on the channel back then was because he was basically the entire the MCU was hinging upon his character as the main antagonist until Disney cut ties with him following the verdict. And since then, he's kind of been in the lurch, trying to rehabilitate his career behind the scenes, and I guess this was the next logical step for him. And Deadline was the one to report on this yesterday. Jonathan Majors makes movie comeback in Daily Wire action pick, filming this week in South Carolina. Creed 3 and Ant-Man star Jonathan Majors is shooting his first movie in 4 years as camera rolls this week in South Carolina on an untitled action film from the Daily Wire and Bonfire legend. Kyle Rankin, who, by the way, directed and wrote the Run, Hide, Fight movie, which debuted on Daily Wire, is directing from his own screenplay. The title, plot, and other cast are being kept under wraps for now, but the story is said to be in the vein of 80s and 90s action movies Red Dawn and Toy Soldiers, which were both about groups of teenage boys who had to band together to defeat invading enemies. They went on to explain Major's career was motoring following roles in movies such as The Last Black Man in San Francisco, Creed 3, Ant-Man and the Wasp, and Magazine Dreams, as well as a series such as HBO horror Lovecraft Country, but was dropped from numerous projects.
I was completely forgot that Lovecraft Country existed.
He was dropped from numerous projects when found guilty in 2023 of assaulting his former girlfriend. The actor has been rebuilding since then and is also attached to star in the supernatural revenge thriller Merciless from Martin Villeneuve, which we first announced in summer 2024. The Daily Wire and Bonfire Legend have not shied away from opportunities to help resuscitate the careers of canceled actors. The conservative media brands, which are coming off their biggest project to date in Pendragon Cycle, also gave comeback movie roles to Armie Hammer and Gina Carano after her exit from The Mandalorian.
I do love that Gina Carano is thrown in the same vein as like the stuff that all the guys are accused.
Yeah,
they're like, you know what? She said some kind of, it wasn't even mean. Nothing she said was even mean.
Something about that, like, does kind of put a bad taste in my mouth because Gina Carano is such a different example compared to the Armie Hammers and the Jonathan Majors.
If we're talking about there is such a thing, ladies and gentlemen,
even close to what they were accused of.
And even beyond accusations, go with me here. There is such a thing as the likability gap, which is that she is an unbelievably likable person to everybody that's not a far leftist, whereas Armie Hammer and Jonathan Majors may not even be considered likable to anybody, really, outside of maybe the most ideologically poisoned people who just want to support because other people aren't supporting. But she is just such a likable person. Yeah. And she's making her, comebacks from the comeback now with her fight with Ronda Rousey.
I have several gripes here. So Gina Carano, she's this extraordinarily charismatic and likable woman. I mean, you cannot even help but like her. She is exuberant and has no criminal charges against her. Like, that what she did was literally like nothing compared to anything that was, you know, leveled against Armie Hammer or Jonathan Majors. She literally just didn't put pronouns in bio. Like, that was all she did.
No, there was the post about, like, getting everybody to hate one another that got taken the wrong way.
Okay, even that was, like, it just is like a speck of dust compared to getting convicted of a crime.
Yep.
And Jonathan Majors, on the other hand, honestly is an extraordinarily unlikable person. I mean, he comes off as incredibly full of himself. Huge ego, like that's just how it appears to me.
Scott King.
And on top of all that, was actually found guilty in a court of law. So, I mean, it's much different when someone is falsely accused of a crime, but he was literally convicted of these crimes. And I think it's kind of dishonest to claim that that's the same thing as getting canceled.
Yeah.
Gina Carano got canceled. Jonathan Majors got convicted of crimes.
Yep.
And a lot of it is on recording. His behavior was recorded on video, on surveillance, and there were audio recordings of him verbally berating his ex-girlfriend in a way that I found quite racially charged, by the way. He is an ethno-narcissist, leftist. He does not share conservative values at all, the way that Gina Carano does. He was berating Grace Jabari, his white girlfriend, for not treating him like Michelle Obama or Coretta Scott King would, which is implying that he views himself to be on the level of an Obama or MLK Jr., which is insane and says a lot about his mindset and the way he views the world. So I just don't see the comparison here between their situations.
Gina Carano,
and I don't think that it's honest to say that the left is mad at this decision. I don't think that it's just the left. In fact, it's from what I've seen on my timeline the past day, a lot of fans of the Daily Wire, a lot of conservative leaning people who take issue with this decision to work with him. And I would put myself in that camp. I question whether this is a wise decision for them to associate with Jonathan Majors. And they're kind of just like lumping him into the same camp as Gina Carano. I don't know if this rumor, by the way, is substantiated, but another Scoop account claimed Jonathan Majors and Zachary Levi will star as twins in this action film from the Daily Wire. They described it as an anti-woke Sinners, an anti-woke version of Sinners. I have no idea where that came from because the Deadline article never suggested that or mentioned Zachary Levi. Just thought I would mention that in case that turns out to be true later on.
Remember when I said that they need to stop being reactionary? Making anti-woke Sinners is a horrible idea.
I don't even know what that means. That's just insane. And a couple of responses here say, in 2020, Jonathan Majors was starring in a Spike Lee film, had an HBO series, and was set to be the focal point of the next phase of the MCU movies. This is a generational bag fumbling that will be talked about for years. Another one said, going from almost being the star of 2 Avengers films to working with Ben Shapiro, unheard levels of washed. And another one who appears to be a conservative or possibly a fan of the Daily Wire said, Hollywood didn't cancel him because he voiced a conservative opinion or said something inappropriate on the internet. They blackballed him because he was convicted of assaulting his girlfriend. He can be redeemed if he apologizes and makes amends.
He, I mean, depending on how you view, you know, serving your time, he did get like a bunch of hours of community service related to domestic violence that he had to complete. So depends on what your thoughts are on whether the criminal justice system is actually a form of rehabilitation, or if it means that he has to go do whatever the courts say and come out and give you or I an apology that 80% of the people won't accept anyways.
Now, in response to all of this mockery and backlash, the Daily Wire issued an official response from Ben Shapiro himself. So let's take a look at that video.
Okay, here we go. It's salmon. Actually, it's red. I thought it was salmon at
What is
first.
he wearing?
His shirt. I was like, it's
close.
It's red. Here we go.
Well, folks, you may have seen this rumor that we here at Daily Wire are working with Jonathan Majors on a new movie. And that rumor is absolutely true. Yeah, I know, there are a lot of people on the left, on X, and they're very upset about this. They're very upset about this. There's lots of tweets. Okay, here's the deal, you whiny little bitches. We don't care, because Jonathan Majors was canceled all the way back in 2023. We are ecstatic to bring him back. He's unbelievably talented. And if you're upset now, wait until you see
What the fuck is this song?
this film. Your heads are going to explode. Like, actually maybe explode. It's pretty spectacular stuff that we're doing. That's what we do here at Daily Wire. We fight the fight. We need your help to continue to fight in the culture and to win and to do the thing no one else will do. So please, come join us here at DailyWirePlus.com. Join the fun.
The problem is he got in a fight too, and then he got convicted because he got in a fight. That's the issue.
Yeah. Again, I would just say it's inaccurate, if not intellectually dishonest, to claim that it's only people on the left who are pushing back on this decision. There are plenty of people who are actually subscribed to Daily Wire Plus who take issue with this and think that it's a bad move. And then they also responded from the Daily Wire account saying the Disney Plus to Daily Wire Plus pipeline is crazy, with a picture of Jonathan Majors and a picture of Gina Carano from a red carpet for The Mandalorian. Again, it's just like, let's not compare Jonathan Majors and Gina Carano.
Yeah.
Like, let's just not do that, because that is unfair to Gina Carano and also to the people who are criticizing them for this decision.
I also think technically the last Hercule Poirot movie was the Kenneth Branagh one. That would have been 20th Century Studios, which is technically Disney, which means Armie Hammer was at Disney as well. The pipeline is undefeated.
Yeah, and the Armie Hammer thing is also different because he was never charged or convicted with a crime, right?
I don't believe so.
That was just a civil lawsuit that was leveled against him, correct?
That sounds right. And then he like went overseas or whatever. He wasn't in America for a long time.
Right, but the accusations against Armie Hammer, again, much more severe than anything that Gina Carano was accused of.
Yes.
And again, more credible. Like, I would say that there is more credibility to those accusations than the ones that were leveled against Gina Carano. So let's not draw a false equivalency there either. And I understand why people are fatigued with this idea that conservative media has to like scrape the bottom of the barrel for talent. I wish that weren't the case, but it appears that way.
They didn't do that with Pendragon, and that seems to be the most popular thing they've made.
It's definitely the biggest, most ambitious project that they have.
But I see
published.
Mostly positive sentiment around it.
Yeah.
Like, I don't see a lot of negativity around that show, and none of it has to do with actors who have since been canceled, unless you want to call Brett Cooper somebody who's been canceled from the Daily Wire. Right,
but none of the talent that were on the cast of Pendragon were like people who were on the level of Jonathan Majors and then got canceled. Again, I don't agree with the term, using that term in regard to Jonathan Majors. He wasn't canceled. Like, that's just legitimately not what happened. And yeah, I mean, it was an embarrassing situation all around. I don't think that it's just a one-sided thing. It was probably a mutually violent, mutually toxic relationship that he was in.
In the
but
chat,
to completely absolve him at this point is ridiculous.
In the chat, Batmobile, which is a great name the way he spells it, says Majors is actually talented. That's not bottom of the barrel. No, but the idea here is not whether he's talented or not, because that's not all that matters when you're casting actors for roles and stuff like that. It does matter what their public perception is. If that wasn't true, Hollywood wouldn't have requirements for social media followings when they hire actors to do roles now. And there is a stigma or an understanding that a lot of times when conservative outlets make movies, they look to find actors that they can work with from traditional Hollywood. And a lot of times they aren't able to get them unless they're in a situation like this, or it's an Angel Studios movie that they license or something like that. Suddenly Mark Hamill shows up in your conservative movie.
What I mean by bottom of the barrel isn't me saying that Jonathan Majors isn't a talented actor. I just mean that you're only able to select from a pool of people who have no other options.
Yep.
And so it's not really that you're competing for them in like, you know what I mean? Like it's not a competition anymore because they literally have no other choice but to work with alternative media.
What they really need to do is they need to make their own version of a show where there is a very, very ambitious alt media company owner named Jen Marino, who goes out and purposely frames actors they want to work with for stuff so that they can then later get them on the cheap. That's
that would be hilarious.
I would watch that.
I would watch that 100%.
All right, let's move on. We've got more stuff to get into. This one's depressing. Let's do it.
So a 7-month-old baby monkey in Japan named Punch has captured global attention recently because he has this tragic journey caught on social media. He was born last July and was rejected by his mother in his enclosure at this zoo in Ishikawa City in Tokyo. And then was not only rejected by his mother, but also the entire community of macaque monkeys in this enclosure. He's a total outcast in his little social environment here. And in order to cope with that, with being abandoned and rejected, he has instead formed an attachment with a plush orangutan monkey toy that was originally from IKEA. This is his surrogate mother that he is turning to when the monkeys push him away. They reject him. He can't get a hug from one of the other monkeys. He has to run back to his little plushie there. See, and primarily women are watching these videos on social media and just bawling their eyes out and feeling these maternal instincts towards Punch. There's another video I wanted to show of him.
This one here on Instagram?
When my For You page decides to show me a baby monkey getting bullied, it only has a plushie for comfort. No, nothing could matter.
Muting the song.
He's like straight up getting like brutalized by these other monkeys and runs away in fear back to his orangutan plushie, hugging it for comfort. It'll never be a real mother. You know, that's his only friend. Isn't that heartbreaking?
Yes.
And I will admit, I did find one Punch video on my For You page that did tug at the heartstrings. Mm-hmm. And I got a little bit emotional.
It melted even your cold heart.
Yeah. Yes. And I'm not even like a monkey person. I don't think that monkeys are cute generally. Like they give me Uncanny Valley vibes. But even that video of Punch kind of got to me. So Punch, a 7-month-old macaque monkey, had no friends. His mother abandoned him. He wasn't fitting in with the other monkeys at the zoo. The closest thing he had to loved ones were the zookeepers who look after him and a stuffed animal from IKEA. But a series of widely shared posts showing his predicament, including a hashtag started by the zoo, #HangInTherePunch, have put Punch in the global spotlight and made him somewhat of an internet celebrity. Legions of fans from around the world have been cheering Punch on, welcoming him as a bright spot during intense current events.
Yeah, messages of encouragement, often accompanied by memes of women and men sobbing into their phones over the sight of yet another rejected Punch wrapping himself in the arms of his orangutan mother. It says, I am Punch, and he is me, is clearly a sentiment shared by many, including those who, and this is from the article, like my youngest daughter, were not, as I swiftly pointed out in the group chat, rejected in any way by their mother. So now women in the real world are having to answer for crimes they have not committed because of this monkey.
Now I feel like this is reaching a point of, it's like breaching containment. Mm-hmm. And it's clearly becoming an opportunity for profit. When I Googled Punch yesterday, what happened was a bunch of images of Punch inside hearts started flying down the screen. So now he's like officially partnered with Google. Spotify also created a yearning playlist,
of course,
dedicated to Punch, titled "We're All Your Mom." Punch.
The way in which something travels. The way in which something becomes like part of the cultural zeitgeist and then is immediately capitalized on by business is just lightning fast these days.
And that IKEA plush toy that he is attached to was originally sold for $20, is now being resold for more than $30,000 online. That's how high in demand that product is. Just
See, this
because
is
of
what
Punch,
happens.
This cultural impact.
The women are not having kids, and they're sublimating all of their maternal instincts onto this monkey. And that's why we are in a population crisis right now.
I mean, I would say, if anything, like, actual moms get more emotional about stories like this than women who aren't moms, because they see their own babies in Punch. But then, of course, people are told they're wrong for having this emotional reaction to Punch's story. One said, capitalism is starting to exploit this to get people distracted from actual issues. Another one said, people are getting genocided. Children are getting R-worded by presidents, but everyone is sad for a monkey. They're saying this is a distraction campaign, a Psyop, to distract from the Epstein files.
Can somebody let me know where the, you know, the New World Order home base is, where they released both Savannah Guthrie and Punch the Monkey at the same time to distract from the Epstein files?
Right. And this has also prompted just a tidal wave of opinion pieces, and they're titled things like The Mournful Ballad of Punch the Monkey. Punch the Monkey is the world's newest emotional support icon. How a baby monkey made us laugh, cry, and see ourselves in his struggle to fit in.
They've been doing this for
decades.
Punch the
Monkey needs more than your love.
They have been doing this for decades for the animal shelters, with Sarah McLachlan playing in the background, played late at night, trying to get you to donate so that you can sponsor a pet.
Well, that's where the activists come in to say, well, actually, you're wrong for making this baby monkey into a niche internet micro celebrity, because that might be doing more harm than good. The reality is, he was probably rejected by his mother, or more likely to be rejected by his mother, because they're in captivity. He, from what I understand, his mother went into a particularly difficult labor in the middle of a heat wave in captivity, and that complicates their very delicate social structure and all of the complexities of macaque social hierarchies. They're disrupted when they're in captivity, and he probably would have had a better chance at survival and acceptance if he were in the wild. That's the hard truth. But people are thinking that the solution for Punch is to be adopted. That would be way worse for him if he were under the care of humans instead of in a community of other macaques, because they can get quite aggressive, especially the males. Hopefully when he grows up, he'll have a chance to enter a new community, which is what male macaques tend to do. They disperse once they reach maturation. There was a wildlife charity that weighed in called Born Free, has warned that Punch's viral fame could do more harm than good for him and his species. The organization said the videos widely shared do little to educate people about macaques' natural behavior or the threats they face in the wild, and may be counterproductive. Content that triggers an emotional human response to Punch risks fueling demand to own macaques as pets, a pattern that Born Free says is commonly seen when wild animals go viral. So the last example I can think of this is like the baby hippo Moo Dang.
That is the last one that I can think
in 2024. He's kind of like a hybrid between Harambe and Moo Dang, with the cuteness factor, with a tragic story. Moo Dang was just like a sort of positive story. There was nothing sad about Moo Dang.
Yeah. Just that it was cute.
But Punch is a tragic figure, much like Harambe was. Although he thankfully is still alive. And the charity also pointed to the commercial side of animal celebrity, noting that zoos profit from viral moments through merchandise, ticket sales, and social media engagement, while the animal remains in captivity with little prospect of that changing. Once public attention moves on to the next sensation, Punch will still be in the same enclosure for the rest of his life.
Yeah, they're going to have to get like viral animal agents that can kind of get them a better deal.
Yeah, and they say the circumstances behind Punch's story reflect deeper problems with keeping primates in zoos. They're also pointing to the phenomenon of zoochosis, where animals in captivity often develop neurological problems that reflect perhaps the symptoms of OCD in humans, repetitive movements, and responses to trauma. Its 2025 report found that maternal rejection, the event that started Punch's journey, occurs at significantly higher rates in captivity compared to the wild, often because zoo environments fail to replicate the social structures that primates need. They urged people to support the wild macaque conservation efforts rather than visiting zoos to see famous animals. So somehow we're still the villain in this story.
As usual, as with the Planet of the Apes movies, right? We were the baddies all along.
But everyone is seeing this story and identifying with Punch, feeling like they never fit in and they were rejected by their community. And they've had to, turn to their own, I guess, figurative orangutan plushie for comfort.
What happens for me at work? They just shun me away, and I just slouch and slink away back to my captive space and hug the mini monkey.
Now, I don't necessarily think this is some kind of top-down conspiracy. I don't think this is some kind of carefully constructed psyop to distract us from the real issues. I don't think that we're obligated to, stay up to date on every human atrocity and war crime that's taking place throughout the globe. But also, the hype around Punch has reached a point that is kind of, it's a little bit scary.
So is the idea
the
here
emotional attachment that people feel toward this animal feels like they don't have the same level of empathy for other human beings.
Is the idea here supposed to be like, if it's not the Epstein files, it's like Trump just got the call from Bibi and he said it's time to bomb Iran, release the punch the monkey so that we can distract everybody from what we're about to do next? I can't with this.
However, I want to add that there is seemingly at least the beginnings of a happy ending to this journey. Punch has now joined a monkey group. He has begun learning social behaviors, including grooming the other monkeys, a key sign of healthy development. Observers note that Punch is spending more time with the troop than with his plush mother. It appears that he is steadily growing more independent and suggesting that before long, he may no longer need the plush for comfort.
That's amazing.
So there is a light at the end of the tunnel. I thought that this wouldn't have a happy ending, but it turns out he's starting to find his way in the world.
The top comment here says, "Too late, millions of us already traumatized and in need of therapy."
Yeah, it just feels like people are making this all about themselves. And
the idea supposed to be that like the farthest left of the bunch are like, there's children being blown up in Gaza and you're focusing on this monkey.
Yeah. No, that's the response from the people on like leftist Twitter are saying like you should be spreading videos of like Gazan children dying in explosion blasts, and then the people on the right are like, you shouldn't care about a monkey when the birth rates are declining. Like every response is wrong somehow. Like I don't know. I think it's fine to just like feel for the little creature. It's only natural, but don't let it get,
out of control.
Your head. Don't let it traumatize you and send you to therapy. Yeah.
There was actually like so in the show Bones, the character of Angela is like she is she is advised by by Sweets to go on like to stop initiating sexual interactions with like men, basically to like relearn how to connect with people. And she does it for so long that she starts like looking at baby animals in commercials and sending money to them and asking other people to donate money too. And he's like, okay, you're starting to form unnaturally close bonds with pictures of fuzzy animals. I think it's time to like reconnect with human beings again.
Yeah.
That's what this is.
If you're straight up like traumatized and crying your eyes out over punch videos, it might be time to put the phone away.
Yep. All right.
Connect with other human beings.
Cringe or cute of the day?
Let's see the cute first.
Okay.
Speaking of cute animals.
We can do that. This one here is from Steph. My pet's baby Siamese cat, Robin, German Shepherd dog, and my beautiful, is this cockatiel? Is that like cockatoo?
I don't know.
Freddie, R.I.P. Fred. Oh, that's sad.
Aww.
But that is a very cute cat.
Yeah. Very fluffy.
Yep. Oh, that's a cute German Shepherd. And then there's the bird.
I guess it is a cockatoo.
My brother had 2 parakeets that were just never shut the fuck up.
I like that it has like rosy cheeks. That's very cute.
It is very cute.
I didn't know a bird could be cute.
All right, and for the cringe of the day, it says, asking 2 baddies to film me cringe maxing.
Yeah.
Here we go.
Hey, can you film me, please? You will? Okay, thank you.
Hey guys, welcome back to the channel, so check it out! We have another box of jams! You already know I love these things, so let's get straight into it, and let's just have a blast this time, okay? Are you excited?
Yeah? Yeah?
Awesome, so am I!
You know how they talk about, like, Friends without the laugh track? Or,
yeah.
Like, if this doesn't have the sound effects and the song, it's 10 times worse.
Yeah.
Wow! There's 4 of them on the inside? I didn't expect that! Holy crud, this is awesome!
Did he say holy crud?
Let's get rid of these, and let's just munch this one.
It's like, why did you do this?
And let's get straight into it. Ready for me to wrench? Awesome! Oh god! The flavor is crazy!
Okay, I'm tapping out. That's all I can do.
I must know, if this guy asks you to record a video for him in public, would you agree?
No.
Would you do it?
No.
You would tell him no?
Like, no, I'm in a hurry, bro.
Honestly, like, I would probably do it.
Yeah. Here's the thing though. The problem is like everybody can laugh at this guy, but boom, 447,000 followers on Instagram.
Yeah,
So,
whatever he's doing is working.
If we're judging by clout, then, you know, it's working for him.
Yeah.
All right, let's move on.
All right, guys. Remember George McFly from Back to the Future? This is him now. Feel old yet? There is this horrifying story about Crispin Glover that got published yesterday in Variety. There are some shocking allegations made against him by a former girlfriend who remains anonymous. She launched this lawsuit against him, which is the first reason I'm skeptical. This isn't, you know, him being charged with any crimes. He is merely being, you know, accused of these things in a civil lawsuit. So that's the first red flag. But there's so much about this that was not YouTube friendly, so I might have to censor some of these words.
Oh yeah.
Here goes. Crispin Glover has been sued by an alleged former girlfriend who claims that the Back to the Future actor used her for sex and free labor after luring her with the promise of a job opportunity in Los Angeles. According to a civil complaint filed Wednesday and obtained by Variety, Crispin Glover is being accused of battery, fraud, wrongful eviction, malicious prosecution, intentional infliction of emotional distress, and Bain Act violations stemming from a disturbing series of incidents in which Jane Doe was essentially held captive and used for sex and free labor by Mr. Glover under false pretenses.
By the way, if you're wondering what the Bain Act is, it's a California law enacted in 1987 that allows individuals to sue for damages when their constitutional or statutory rights are violated through threats, intimidation, or coercion. It is a powerful, broad civil rights tool used against private individuals, businesses, and law enforcement, often in cases involving excessive force, illegal arrests, or hate crimes.
And be warned that this anonymous accuser is 30 years old, and they first connected 10 years ago when she was 20 years old and hadn't met until more recently. So Jane Doe, described as a 30-year-old former model from the UK, claims that she was lured and manipulated into moving to LA to work for Crispin Glover as his assistant in the entertainment industry. According to the lawsuit, the two first connected through social media in 2015, and Glover allegedly made, quote, strange advances. And
microphone cut out. We'll have you back here in a second there. All good. We'll move it back up here to where it says that he was described the 30. Oh, you good? Got that there? You good?
What, you can hear me?
Yeah. Just change the microphone over there.
Okay.
Got it?
I think you can hear me, right?
Yeah, you're good.
Okay. So
the story just it didn't want you to continue. It's like, this is gross. Let's just stop it there.
Glover allegedly made strange advances and encouraged her for years to come to LA. In 2023, Jane Doe and Crispin Glover met in person in Dresden, where he allegedly showed her items of Nazi memorabilia from his own personal collection. And I just want to say this is the most believable part of the story, the Nazi memorabilia collection, because he has in fact been accused of having a sick fascination with Hitler for a long time now. In fact, this is a real tweet from Trisha Paytas. She says, true story. This was back in 2014 that she tweeted this. I once went on a date with Crispin Glover. We talked about conspiracy theories and Hitler. Was not disappointing. So this was over 10 years ago that she tweeted this about Crispin Glover. And not only that, we'll get into this in a second, he made subtle allegations against Steven Spielberg for his depictions of prepubescent boys in dangerous situations, suggesting that this Jewish American director is guilty of acts similar to that of Harvey Weinstein. We'll get to that in a second, though. Yeah. So the complaint reports that during a series of calls and correspondences in 2023, Glover groomed Jane Doe with promises of a new life where she could start over and have a career in the entertainment industry. Okay, that was bad timing for a crisis.
Tonal issues.
We'll just act like that didn't happen. So he made promises of a new life where she could start over and have a career in the entertainment industry through some sort of business relationship with him. She ultimately moved to LA in early 2024. So bear in mind, this is a woman claiming that she was groomed at the age of 28.
Yep. Well,
28, not 20.
Yeah, but they started talking when she was 20, right? So is the idea
they started talking online when she was 20.
I'm imagining if she's saying that she was groomed, that she's saying she was groomed from the age of 20.
But they're claiming that the grooming began in 2023.
Oh, at 28.
Yeah.
Okay.
So there's a big burden of proof there. Anyway, when Miss Doe took the bait and uprooted herself and moved to Los Angeles, she found herself in a disturbing situation where Crispin Glover wanted to control her actions and track her whereabouts and basically serve him as a live-in girlfriend / sex slave. after she refused to comply with his increasingly bizarre and inappropriate demands. She alleges that she was unlawfully evicted and that Glover filed false legal actions against her, including a fraudulent petition for a restraining order. So I am shocked that you can even lawfully evict anyone in Los Angeles, but whatever. In a statement shared with Variety, a lawyer for Crispin Glover said that he denies these baseless allegations in the strongest possible terms. The reality is that on March 2nd, 2024, Crispin Glover was the victim of an unprovoked felony assault by Jane Doe at his LA residence. He called LAPD, which came to the scene, investigated, and arrested Jane Doe. These facts are documented by law enforcement records and by the restraining order filed by Glover against Jane Doe at the time. He intends to vigorously defend himself and pursue all available relief. He's confident the judicial process will expose this lawsuit as a meritless fabrication. Now, one of the responses I saw to this story said something vaguely like, wow, everyone who Isaac Cappy called out before he died is getting exposed one by one, implying that Isaac Cappy made accusations against Crispin Glover, which was news to me. But the reality is Isaac Cappy never accused Crispin Glover of anything. He did mention him because Crispin Glover wrote an essay in 2003 titled "What Is It?", an essay concerning the subtext of the film by the same title. This essay is no longer available on Crispin Glover's website, and it's even hard to come by if you...
Oh, your microphone cut out again. Try it one more time, see if you can get it fixed. I think the most interesting thing about stories like this, guys, is the real problem is most of the time there is no defense for even for the celebrity against allegations like this, because once it hits the media, once the headlines start coming out, there's absolutely nothing they can do against what it's going to start doing to their reputation when the headlines start doing that. And there's nothing you can do about it. There's no answer to that. And if we're talking purely for search engine optimization, like his name is now, it's this, and it's going to be this for the foreseeable future. And I think we've talked recently, and you can correct me if I'm wrong, you're just going to go off. Like if they would have filed, and there's almost no way to do it, but if it had been filed in court for arrest, if this had been, if they had gone to the cops and this was something that had been done where they had tried to take this to criminal prosecution, people would look at it differently than a civil suit, which looks like it's designed for monetary means.
Well, you would think all these years after the height of Me Too, it wouldn't sway anyone's opinion to see a civil suit against an actor. But I saw several responses that basically said, like, I always knew he was weird. Like, one of them said, I believe the model. He plays creepy way too well. Another one said, the problem is, even if he didn't do it, there's no way he can act normal enough for us to believe he didn't do it.
Yeah.
So he's guilty because he's weird and he's played weird characters on TV shows and movies that I like. Like, that's literally where people are drawing their conclusions. But
well, didn't they say the same thing about like Emma Roberts, where it's like she's too good at playing bitchy and mean?
Yeah. So this essay, it's really weird because it's hard to come by evidence of it on the Wayback Machine, and it's not on his website anymore. But basically, the whole thing raises provocative questions about Steven Spielberg's films and public persona. And Steven Spielberg was one of many Hollywood directors and actors that Isaac Cappy outright accused of basically being child predators. The essay interrogates Steven Spielberg's portrayal of young boys in emotionally charged or vulnerable situations, such as in Schindler's List and Hook, and suggests that these depictions may reflect deeper, troubling themes. Crispin Glover asks whether Spielberg's fantasy life focuses on young people and speculates about his relationship with figures like Michael Jackson, noting their close professional ties and the allegations surrounding Michael Jackson. And The essay also references the 1997 attempted home invasion by Jonathan Norman, a man who claimed that Steven Spielberg was pure evil and planned to sodomize him in front of his wife, allegedly due to perceived moral corruption in Spielberg's films. Crispin Glover uses this incident to argue that Spielberg's cinematic vision may generate intense, dangerous psychological reactions. He frames these ideas within broader cultural critiques, questioning media complicity, censorship, and the nature of artistic influence. Basically, the whole essay doesn't have a thesis. It just asks a bunch of questions about Steven Spielberg that suggest that he is somehow, that he has a sexual proclivity for prepubescent boys.
I mean, it's the same argument that conservatives make when Steven Spielberg says something they don't like. They bring up the scene from It.
Right. Exactly. Well, you mean Stephen King.
What, I thought I said Stephen
Spielberg.
King. Okay,
I think you said Spielberg.
You know what I mean.
King.
Stephen King.
Yeah. So now everyone's like, Isaac Cappy vindicated once again, when in reality, Isaac Cappy never accused Crispin Glover of anything untoward. That was just a weird detail. I must say, like, the most believable part of the civil suit is the Nazi memorabilia collection part. That seems to be in keeping with public knowledge about Crispin Glover. But again, that just means, you know, maybe you shouldn't show your first date bunch of your Nazi memorabilia.
What number date is that for?
That might be for later on in the relationship.
That's,
you know,
at
when
least sixth date material.
Right. Yeah. That's not first date stuff. Maybe also you shouldn't flew out a model from Instagram and put her up in your home and expect that to go well.
Wait, what was it? When did we talk about, like, David Harbour, like, flying someone out? Wasn't that something similar? Not
when. Do you mean when the affair came out?
What was that? What was the story about David Harbour? Was that not something where, like, he flew a lady out?
No,
or
yeah,
something?
there was some, like, troubled young woman that he had staying at his apartment maybe 10, 15 years ago. I don't even remember when that happened, but she committed suicide by jumping off of his balcony, allegedly when he wasn't there. Okay, yeah. So now people accuse him of either encouraging it or framing it as a suicide, and they think that he killed this woman.
Yeah.
People say similar things about Ashton Kutcher because
that story came up again the other day, because there's this there's this Twitter account that reports news from years ago as if it's happening right now. And and then when people respond and say this story is old, they just say, "What are you talking about? This just happened." Like, and that story came up. Like the one about, like, him trying to go on a date with this woman. He goes to her door and she's not there. He claims that she was not there, and then they find out after the fact that she died or whatever, and he was kind of held in suspicion.
Right.
In that story.
The funniest reply to this story about Crispin Glover said that, I don't know if this is true, but they claimed to know one of Crispin Glover's ex-girlfriends, a different one. And this is 100% true, and also he should not be found guilty.
Wait, what?
I don't know what that is implying, but basically people are just saying he's a weirdo, so it's easy to believe that there is at least a seed of truth to all of these allegations. I guess if there is anything to it, we'll find out later on.
Yes, we will. All right, let's move on. Lana Del Rey, the one who makes everybody create think pieces.
Yeah, Lana Del Rey is really uniquely a lightning rod for people's ideologies, and, you know, she's kind of a Rorschach test for people on both the left and the right. She seems to effortlessly enrage people simply because she isn't as desperate for fame and relevance as other people in the music industry. So she recently announced her upcoming album, which is titled Stove. That's the name of the album. It's just Stove.
And apparently feminists are pissed about this.
Yes. And the reason why feminists are offended at the title is because it is in the domestic space. She's referencing a kitchen appliance, which somehow implies that she has debased herself since getting married to this alligator tour guide, Jeremy Dufresne, and become a demure trad wife. And this whole album, in their estimation, is a dog whistle for I don't even know what. Basically,
I still never heard a dog
was
whistle.
it. Nobody has heard the album yet. They're just jumping to conclusions. And that prompted this wild opinion essay in The Telegraph, which accused her of becoming a darling of the right. Her turn to marriage, modest living, and a homespun new album now reads as a political provocation in a polarized U.S. And this is written by Kara Kennedy, who is British, by the way, so it's interesting to see her interpretation of all of this.
Opinion is discarded, just like the opinions of Canadians, no offense, but my goodness.
So I do think that this article was misinterpreted because the headline sounds like it's slandering Lana, but it's actually quite fair to her in substance. So they say the name Lana Del Rey evokes a particular image of the United States, of rusted trucks and faded flags, a waitress curling her hair before the breakfast shift, the smell of petrol in the heat.
Is it
the
a
hum
waste
of late
bin?
night television in a room where no one is really watching. For more than a decade, despite being from New York City, the singer has been the patron saint of small town melancholy, the US's emblem of heartbreak. Somewhere along the way, she gained a new congregation, Republicans, or at least the kind of wistful traditionalists who don't mind being labeled as such. So perhaps it's perfect that her next album is called Stove, a title so plain it feels almost revolutionary in a world allergic to sincerity.
Okay, so
while other pop stars,
before you go on, I do disagree that it was like with what you said earlier, not with what you said, but what other people were saying, that this was some type of hit piece. It felt like it was quite flattering to her, or at least it took a certain amount of admiration for the way the writer framed her approach to music.
Yes, this piece is more fair and balanced toward Lana Del Rey than any of the other ones for the past 10 years, which have basically accused her of being a closeted fascist. While other pop stars go big and glitzy, naming their albums things like The Life of a Showgirl, Brat, or Radical Optimism, Lana, never afraid to go against the grain, has gone full kitchen appliance. Stove clangs with the sturdy, unpretentious weight of real life. Just look at the title of the forthcoming album's new single. White Feather Hawk-tailed Deer Hunter sounds more like an advertisement for Bass Pro Shops than a pop song. And to add context here, I believe Lana clarified that the name of the album Stove is inspired by some night where she woke up from a bad dream and went on a drive in the middle of the night, and her husband Jeremy, while she was out clearing her head, decided to make her homemade mac and cheese on the stove. And
so
she
made
came
her
home.
the mac and cheese.
Yes.
Well, that's not very feminist.
Yeah, so it's
no, that is
nice...
that is very feminist. Never mind. Let me walk it back here. That's very feminist. She's out here girl bossing so hard she has to go on a night drive to clear her head from all of the girl bossing. And her husband is like, you know what? I'm going to make her. The only way it could have been more feminist is if he made her a sandwich.
Well, look, I don't think there's anything inherently feminist about her husband making her mac and cheese. Okay,
I'm kidding.
It's just a nice reference to her relationship, and it was made into this thing that it shouldn't have been.
There's a 20 here from Pop Culture Junkie says, Glover dissing Spielberg is not surprising since he sued the director over recasting and other differences for the second Back to the Future movie. I mean, that's a long way to go from like, you didn't keep me in your movie to like, you dine on children or something like that. Like, that's crazy.
Yeah. Naturally, critics have been searching for irony, asking, is she mocking trad wives? Is she commenting on capitalism? Is it all somehow a feminist statement? There's been the inevitable liberal backlash. Social media users lined up to express their horror that a woman might name an album after a household object.
You know,
really doubled down on feminism isn't interesting to me with that title.
You know, conservatives do this too. You and I know that conservatives do this too, because what Evie Magazine will do is, no offense, is like a picture of just any celebrity gets pregnant and suddenly the birth rate crisis is over. We are so back. Look at the way in which this person exudes conservative values. When you know the term that they would use, like, liberals get the bullet too. Well, this is the other version of that. Liberals get pregnant too.
Yeah, and what this piece is trying to point out is that, like, what Lana is doing that is so revolutionary and causes this outsized response is that she's just normal.
Yep.
She's just normal. She doesn't try to politicize anything. She doesn't apologize for anything, but also she doesn't insist upon herself too often. Others concluded that this album title must be a reference to Sylvia Plath, who committed suicide by sticking her head in the oven. And it's not that. Anyway, the idea that a pop star could find poetry in the domestic or beauty in the ordinary was apparently too much to bear.
See, I don't understand how this is a hit piece. Like, she's being very fair to her. It's quite nice, actually.
Yeah, but they say Lana is not mocking or moralizing. She's doing something far riskier, being sincere, something that now seems to qualify as a political act, and something that definitely codes right. She's married to an alligator tour guide from the South and lives in a modest Louisiana home that he built himself. A detail so quaint it feels like a joke, except it's not.
Wait, isn't he like the owner of like a business though? It's like like they're underselling. He's not Lana Del Rey rich, but he's not just an alligator tour guide.
No, he wasn't just a total bum that she found, you know. Like, obviously he's successful in his own right, but he's certainly not.
Yes.
His net worth probably pales in comparison to hers.
Yeah, but maybe this is like not to go off on a weird little tangent, but you know, we've had the conversation here and I've had it on IRL about, you know, women of a certain level of stature and success have a hard time finding someone to marry because they still want to marry to somebody more successful than they are. But maybe this is how you actually bridge the gap between those two. You find the middle ground of somebody with an ordinary that is extraordinary at being ordinary. So he is somebody who, not to draw it back to like a weird comparison, but there's literally a scene in House where he interrupts Cuddy on a date and she's the head of a hospital, right? She's extremely successful. And he's like, he asks the guy what he does. He goes, oh, I'm in auto maintenance. And he's like, oh, really? And then the guy says, I own an entire franchise of like Jiffy Lubes or something like that. The point is, she's not going to go out on a date who works at a place changing oil, but a guy who will own places changing oil, sure. And this guy may not be that, but he owns the business. And I think they said that he owned a couple of different businesses, if I remember correctly.
Yes. Yeah. So evidently she wasn't interested in dating another person in the entertainment world.
Yep.
Which is rebellious in and of itself. She did find someone who was successful and extraordinary, but in an industry that was like, couldn't be further from her world, which is interesting and provocative. And despite there being such a huge gap between their net worths, it should be noted that Lana could be way richer than she is, and she has forfeited most opportunities to make money and stay relevant because she doesn't really care about that. She doesn't really care about chasing relevance and chasing the zeitgeist. Imagine how many perfumes, how many skincare items, how many makeup products she could have sold over the years. How much more music she could have made. How much more commercially successful she could have been after first rising to fame in the 2010s. And she really kind of shrugged off that expectation just because she's more dedicated to making art that resonates with her. So that's why people find her so interesting, is that she's very self-contained and doesn't chase the limelight. But, you know, it was interesting that this piece pointed out back in the early 2010s when she was, you know, first gaining fame for Born to Die, she was embracing all of these Americana aesthetics, posing with an American flag and wearing the red lipstick and all that. And you know, libs at the time didn't even think twice about that. Whereas today we live in such a polarized culture where everything is a political statement. Libs today would not be able to countenance such a thing. They would not. They would immediately accuse her of playing up Americana aesthetics in an expressly right-wing sense. But back then, people's brains weren't rotted to the point where they couldn't enjoy her music.
You could make the argument, though, that they've tried to recapture American aesthetic, like with Beyonce, and they've tried to turn it around and make it something that's left-coded again, but they can't because they hate America. Like they try all they want, but they hate America. They will never be able to do that in any authentic way. Also, I still believe conservatives love the American flag and liberals love their state flag, except for, you know, the Texas or the you know, Texas people who are conservative might love their state flag. But you know, find yourself somebody that looks at you the way that Marylanders look at their state flag, except nothing less.
I love the Maryland state flag. They say that Lana doesn't fight the culture war. She wins the culture war by refusing to play. And they are talking about this profile that she did in W Magazine last August. They say Gone was the disheveled Tumblr siren with her bright red lipstick and flower crown. In her place stood a 1930s Hollywood apparition. She spoke about her new favorite pastime, what she calls parking lot time with her husband. We spend so much time in parking lots, just reading or talking in the car. Sometimes you think you're the only one who loves a particular thing, like sitting in an empty Macy's parking lot, but then you find another soul who feels the same way. In a culture addicted to noise, there is something radical about her quiet contentment. To her older fans, it felt like a rebellion disguised as domestic bliss. Their sad girl had gone quiet. The woman who once sang about getting high by the beach now seems happiest waiting for her husband to get home. Progressives call it regression, conservatives call it sanity, but what it really is normal, particularly for a 40-year-old woman. Mm-hmm. In 2025, to be a famous woman who marries an ordinary man and retreats into private life is practically an act of sedition. The modern feminist script demands that women be restless, aggrieved, and relentlessly public. She has chosen stillness and obscurity, and that apparently codes Republican. Mm-hmm. It's also speaking volumes that she chose not to live in Los Angeles anymore.
Yeah.
Like, she's not just setting herself apart in the way that she conducts her career, but also literally eschewing proximity from the other people in her industry.
I mean, but it's also like all the actors have left too because there's nothing for them there anymore. Mm-hmm. Like I was just reading some interview earlier. I don't think it was like it wasn't Matthew McConaughey, but whoever it was like, why? Like, all it is paparazzi, and they don't film anything there anymore. Chris Hemsworth was like, they don't film anything there anymore, and paparazzi are waiting for you when you get home. Why would I want to live there?
Yeah, it's not necessary.
Yep.
A decade ago, when the U.S. was less polarized, liberals would hum along to her songs about blue-collar America without blinking, despite the fact that her father, Robert Grant, is a multimillionaire raised on the East Coast who's been largely credited with getting her career off the ground. She could sing about heartbreak and wrap herself in the American flag, and no one thought to ask which party she voted for. Now sincerity reads like propaganda, and nostalgia looks like nationalism. Mm-hmm. It's just that everyone's antenna is up now.
Yep.
Looking for a reason to be outraged.
Yep.
Instead of enjoying the art for what it is.
Yep.
And I think that conservatives who have ambitions of patronizing or creating real art should take notes from the way that she has conducted herself in her career.
I agree.
And they say her headline at the Country Music Festival Stagecoach last April made the divide clearer. She sang a cover of Stand By Your Man to a crowd that was half glamorous Coachella castaways and half country conservatives. They adored her. The same fans who once cried to Born to Die were now belting Tammy Wynette without irony, while those on the right who had previously dismissed her as just another vapid pop star were finally seeing her true colors. And they say, in truth, her recent music has not been political at all, and she is, you know, essentially being used as a talking point, when in reality she's just trying to create music that is connected to her real life experiences. At the end, they conclude that she doesn't chase the zeitgeist. She lets it spin itself out and then holds up a mirror. And when we look into it, what we see is not Lana Del Rey turning conservative. It's the rest of the country finally remembering what ordinary used to look like. Yeah. Now, unfortunately, I don't think that's going to have a lasting effect because of how addictive outrage is.
Yep,
you know,
that's not going to change anything.
And I think that she made a mistake by responding to this piece and clarifying her political views and clarifying the album title and what it means. Mm-hmm. She should have just stayed silent, but she refuted this claim of her being a right-wing muse, saying, "I'm a registered anarchist with a long family history of fighting against the social norm." And even her husband, Jeremy Dufresne, had to comment saying that he's not a MAGA supporter. Mm-hmm. And all of this will fall on deaf ears because being angry is so much more entertaining than the real story.
Yeah, the truth doesn't matter as much as what people decide to observe as the truth to them. Like, whatever your response is almost irrelevant because they're not going to listen to it anyways. It won't matter.
Yeah, Elise McHugh pointed out that Lana Del Rey reads right-wing to people because she's unbothered by what the industry thinks of her when she leans into her aesthetic that good liberals would never touch, which is Americana in a positive light. Right-wingers love Lana Del Rey because she is not political, and that's a breath of fresh air. Well, maybe, and I agree with that.
Maybe that is the point then, which is the idea that they say all the time that, oh, the left doesn't hate America. Oh, there's no anti-American message or there's no anti-American agenda. Yet somehow the fact that it is kind of revelatory that she does this kind of proves them wrong.
Yeah, I wish that, I don't know. I sometimes wonder, like, where did the classical liberals go, like the ones who were her initial fan base? Like, where did those people go? The people who could just like enjoy something for what it is.
You don't think that
are they just MAGA now?
I guess. Is that me? Am I the classical liberal? Is that what I am?
I suppose so.
Liking most of my like half woke TV shows as long as the characters aren't snarky.
Me, as a right-winger, like, I don't need or even want Lana Del Rey to become some kind of mouthpiece for my ideology.
No, it's the last thing you want.
I just want her to be a singer.
Like, it actually ends up destroying the mystique of any artist when they speak on politics, no matter what side it is, right? It feels like they should hold themselves as above the fray and just somebody that creates rather than somebody who represents or is tied to some type of political movement. It makes them less interesting.
That's so extraordinary and notable about Lana Del Rey is that she really doesn't seem to care about being successful or chasing the trends or having eras in her career. This is something that people like saw Taylor Swift do and ran with it. Like, I need every album cycle to be a rebrand. Mm-hmm. And meanwhile, Lana Del Rey has just been herself the entire time. And I respect that so much more. And I think it takes a lot of humility.
All right, let's move on. Everyone should brace themselves right now because we're going to get into something that has become an absolute epidemic here in the United States of America as the patriarchy asserts itself and crushes women under their thumb, a thumb of which is being used to hoist up a sandwich, because we are going to talk about food misogyny.
Yes, allow me to introduce you to a concept called food misogyny. Gender discrimination is on the dining table. Sometimes it's so subtle that we don't even realize it. And this is a concept that I saw sort of trickling through my For You page for several weeks now. And there are many different examples of it. But basically, it boils down to men taking priority when it comes to where food ends up from the kitchen to the dining table to someone's mouth. Mm-hmm. And it can take place particularly in food prep. So if you're meal prepping, you're batch cooking something that can last you for like a week or two at once. Women have been commiserating over the experience of meal prepping for a week at a time, and then their husband comes in and eats 3 days worth of food in one sitting, which essentially, as they put it, steals the food right out of their mouths.
Oh.
Their hunger isn't as high of a priority as the man's hunger.
Okay.
So you can't meal prep in peace if you live with a man. This is explained here. There's a woman trending on TikTok who cooked 12 porks so she won't have to cook for a week. Her husband came back and ate 6. He also packed 3 to go to work. She had to share the rest with her kids. And she went hungry. She had sleep for dinner. All because of her greedy, gluttonous husband.
She didn't just go get more food. She just died. I guess I'll just die, though.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Another one pointed out, have you ever thought food is the way to a man's heart wasn't rooted in misogyny and upholding patriarchy?
Told you.
Or perhaps when your parents would say, he needs more food than you, he's a growing boy.
Mm-hmm.
That's rooted in misogyny and patriarchy as well.
That's another one that'll go through a rebrand, just like Boys Will Be Boys, which used to just be like kids roughhousing outside, somehow turned into like Brett Kavanaugh and supposed gang, rapes going on in like his college dorm.
Yeah, the assumption that men have higher caloric needs is somehow an example of food misogyny, despite the fact that that's actually true. Like, men do have higher caloric needs than women, but
well, also like depending on their weight and height, your calorie intake is different.
Another response said,
Melissa McCarthy has more caloric needs than me.
This response said, thank goodness that air is natural and free, because if providing air in portions were possible, men would do it and give less to women, and we would all suffocate as a result. Another one said that they recommend this movie, a short film where men sit comfortably chatting in the living room while women cook in a packed, poorly ventilated kitchen.
Oh,
so this comes down to family gatherings where, Thanksgiving, all of the women are in the kitchen prepping the food and men are in the living room, watching football or something.
This is why Brian O'Connor from Fast and the Furious was a feminist icon when he helped her clean the dishes after the meal in Fast and the Furious 1, and he said, "The cook doesn't clean where I come from." And she's like, "I'd like to go there."
Another popular trend that has emerged is boyfriends packing a corporate girl's lunch that she brings to work with her. And this girl documented what her boyfriend packed her for lunch, and basically everybody in the comments told her to dump him.
Dump him, sis.
Dump him, sis.
First things first, some turkey meatballs.
She looks so happy.
Yeah, she doesn't seem to have a problem with it whatsoever.
These are baked Japanese sweet potatoes that I made last night.
The top comment says, he said, "I'll just make sure she has the whole fridge."
A whole tub of cottage cheese. Clearly, he doesn't know portions. Okay, we got some blueberries and
I'm calling BS on this. I think this is fake.
Really? This is rage bait?
I don't believe that a grown adult male puts a whole tub of cottage cheese in there. I know we want to promote the idea that apparently men are buffoons, but no.
He hates dishes. Okay, we've got leftover salad mix, water bottle, an apple, and this is the baked butternut squash I made. That goes with the salad. We're eating good.
Okay, well, if she was being more crass about it, I suppose it could be fake. Maybe the guy does think you get a whole tub of cottage cheese. I don't know.
So you back down from that? You don't think that was rage bait? You think this is real?
I mean, I don't know what the rage is supposed to be other than look at how dumb my boyfriend is for packing like an entire tub of cottage cheese and all this other stuff. But what do I know?
I'll tell you. I'll show you. Okay. Because the first comment I see says, "So you're dating a child."
There you go.
Another one said, "He grabbed these things out of the fridge. There isn't any effort." Another one said, "This is actually sad. He grabbed what he found in the fridge and didn't make any effort." Another one said, "Effort would be including a nice note, maybe arranging the lunch in a box, or adding her favorite dessert."
This is why women will never be happy, okay?
This is lazy. Queen, you deserve better. The upside is he can change and challenge himself to do better from here.
Dude.
Another one said, "This isn't cute like you think it is. LOL. He could have packed you nothing, which after this, we all wish he did."
I'm sorry, this
said,
is...
"Your boyfriend doesn't like you."
Yeah.
Another one said, "Being with a man is just constant humiliation, isn't it?"
Well, she chose to make the video, so it's her own humiliation.
Does he hate you? OMG, guys, come look at my incompetent man-child of a boyfriend who can't even pack me a lunch.
Yep.
So there are just tons of videos just like this of women showing the lunches that their boyfriends pack them. And this is yet another example of food misogyny.
Yeah.
It's true.
That's, you know, it reminded me.
This guy's so...
I wonder if I have this. No, I don't have this video. I have this video from this lady that was like really, really funny. But it was like one of those things. It's like what it's like a millennial telling a Gen Z what it's like to date. And it's like, "Oh, he bought me a car. Bare minimum, sis. Like, why do you even put up with him? Bare minimum."
Oh yeah, there's a new trend also where women caption their videos "bare minimum," by the way.
Yeah.
And you see that here. It's not just showing examples of men carrying their girlfriends' or wives' purses or doing their hair, but also, of course, cooking for them.
This guy's so...
Yeah.
Bare minimum.
Here's that video here. You can listen to this. It says, "POV, you talk about your relationship with someone from Gen Z." So that I'll let the audience.
So sweet, you know. He brought me flowers on the first date. He's love bombing you, babes.
He bought me flowers on the first date. He's love bombing you, babe.
He's literally love bombing you. We literally spend all day together. I'm with him 24/7. Go through his phone. He's probably cheating. They all cheat. Go through his phone.
Yeah, it's just that's what it is, right? It's never good enough.
Right.
Yeah.
So for women, it's claimed the dining table could be the first space they learn hierarchy. Women from various cultures have realized the injustice at their dinner tables, and it has a name, and it's part of a systemic, collective, oppressive structure. The term food misogyny is not popular yet in the academic world. I'm shocked by that. However, the practice is real and close to our daily lives, starting from the way food is divided, served, and perceived, which is often influenced by gender bias. In patriarchal culture, food is not just about being full. It can be a subtle way to show who is prioritized and who should give in. And there are many different examples cited here by, social experiments. I'll just say, any pregnant woman going to Chipotle is going to get a burrito 3 times the size that a man could get. Yeah. So there is bias in all different forms. Mm-hmm. Just saying. But in the United States, allegations of these biased practices arise through an experiment by a TikToker named Emily Joy Lemus in 2025. He ordered 2 identical menus at a fast food restaurant. All materials and options are the same except for the name used on the order, 1 female name and 1 male name. The results showed there were more dishes with male names. To be sure, it was repeated elsewhere, and they used food scales. The weight of the orders in the name of women was recorded at 685 grams, while the order in the name of a man reached 714 grams. And this raises questions about the possibility of unconscious bias in the food preparation process.
So when Shannon Sharp goes out to eat, he doesn't get as much as he could possibly get because his name is Shannon.
There was another study entitled Gender Disparities in Portion Sizes that took place in the UK last year. It involved 147 participants who were paid to become restaurant customers in field experiments. And it showed that although higher customers tended to receive slightly larger portions, gender was the most significant variable. Men received an average of 147 grams more meat. Women receive an average of 132 grams, about 89% of the male portion, even though they paid the same price. These findings indicate that there is a cognitive bias in service. Large portions for women are perceived as unusual. Consequently, female consumers pay more per gram of food received.
Let's face it, you know, it's misogyny. That's what it is. It's misogyny. Brett Cooper is so pressed right now because when Brett Cooper goes to a restaurant, they're like, sorry, none for you.
Well, this is why all of these, you know, types of misogyny are impossible to ever remedy.
Wait, no, does that mean
because they're based on cognitive bias instead of policies that you can actually change.
So plus, let's face it, if Brett Cooper went there and then they gave her more because they thought it was a guy, would the feminists say that this is some type of like trap to try and get her to be too fat or something like that?
I bet that's also another form of food misogyny.
I bet you it is. They're like, you know what? You're too skinny. We need to put some meat on those bones. That's what they would say to the females.
Food misogyny is not always present in the form of policy. It's often hidden in everyday practices that are considered normal. From shrinking portions to protein, the dining table can be a reproduction space for inequality that directly impacts women's health and well-being.
It certainly affects it if you put that much thought into something like this. In the chat, who was it that said, who the hell's spending the money on these studies? Like, who's funding this shit?
I know what's like worse for your well-being than eating 30 less grams of protein per day. And it's worrying yourself over things like systemic food oppression.
Yep.
That is going to shave years off of your life if you actually spend time stressing yourself out about that.
Yep. It's
and like, honestly, like, it's not that crazy to have a bias in that direction. Men actually need significantly more calories to survive than women do.
Mm-hmm. So
why would they not eat more?
Like, it really is.
If anything, I feel like restaurants are catering to women these days.
In what way?
Well, this is something that I think Milo Yiannopoulos talked about in his interview with Tucker Carlson. I think it was like a couple of months back that this interview came out.
Okay.
And he said that these restaurants are not serving meals for men. They're serving girl dinner. They're serving, like, you know, basically the equivalent of, you know, $25 buttered pasta. Like, they're not serving food that actually fuels a man's caloric needs.
Yeah. It's
I won't use the word that Milo used to describe it because it's not allowed on YouTube, but it's true.
Yeah.
I think that women are actually the ones who are prioritized when it comes to food service.
The only possible interesting version of that discussion would have been if you wanted to talk about old social norms, like men in the living room watching TV and women cooking, which, although it still exists to an extent, it's not the same thing as it was even 20 years ago.
No, it's not.
So it's just very, you know, it's very like whenever you find these topics, I wonder sometimes, and like, how many years of people's lives are being shaved off worrying about stuff like this?
It is actually like worse for your health to stress yourself out about like literally problems that do not have solutions.
Yeah, there's nothing you can do about it.
That's what this is.
Yep.
It's not good for your quality of life.
All right, let's go to Super Chats then. And guys, we're like almost to a second crisis party. Let's get there. Let's do this.
Burned Oils said, got Phil good yesterday. You would have been proud, Mary.
I don't remember how you got Phil yesterday, but I'm sure you did.
I guess I'll never know. Shane H. Wilder said, the pitch for the short story, a young woman is stuck in a padlock hospital-esque cell being confronted by angels and demons. Are they real or all in her head? Interesting.
Zombie.
I'll go check that out. Pop Culture Junkie said Mary's unusually large Tumblr emoticon.
That's a pretty good idea.
It's kind of a questionable decision. If it's Hello Kitty, we might get sued for that.
Maybe just a gigantic emoticon of a Tumblr in general. Yeah.
Yeah, we could do that. Corey Anderson said, "Who is outside the window today, Mary?" No one is outside my window today. Thank God that's over. Yeah.
So you don't have to look surreptitiously out the window and like be embarrassed about your ring lights.
These people were washing the windows for like literally a week straight. It's finally over. But I heard that this is a once a month occurrence.
You survived.
This is my new normal. Shane H. Wilder said it's on X and Substack.
Okay.
Corey Anderson said, "Mary, you look exceptionally happy today." That's funny because I said the opposite when we did the screenshots for today's thumbnails. I was like, wow, I look exceptionally depressed in that photo. But
plus, it was
what are you gonna
because
do?
She knew she was about to shred the patriarchy and expose food misogyny. Mary often gets giddy when exposing food misogyny.
Nothing fills me with more glee. Although, you know, nobody knows how hard it is to be a 5'1" woman in a calorie deficit. I mean, you would not survive a day in the asylum where they raised me.
Not easy to do.
No. Moon at Noon said, "Happy Friday. Have a great weekend."
You as well.
Thank you. Corey Anderson said, "Would you prefer super chats or rants?"
We get to the super chats first.
Yeah, but I guess if you don't care about the timing.
I'm here for all my freaks on both YouTube and Rumble.
Freaks? Where did that come from?
I was watching old Scott Steiner interviews.
Okay.
If you know, you know.
Shane H. Wilder said Jonathan is just going to do that weird half Mew, half duck face for 2.5 hours, then go out and catch another charge. Yeah,
I can't speak to the catch another charge part. He is happily married to Megan Good now.
Oh, they're married?
They're married.
Since when did they get married? I didn't hear about that.
I think a little like late last year or something like that. You can double check. Somebody can correct me if I'm wrong on that, but I'm pretty sure they got married. But yeah, that's I bet crazy. You when they asked him if he do, like, do you say I do? He goes, I do.
Yeah, I can't with the smoldering.
And Aaron Taylor Johnson is also one of the guiltiest people of this, I've learned.
So obnoxious. And, you know, what do we think the recidivism rates are for Hollywood actors that get charged with assault?
What is the recidivism rate for mewing and smoldering at the same time? That's the real question.
Probably worse.
If you're going to mew, you're going to mew again.
Corey Anderson said the Punch saga must be tearing Cassandra apart. Yeah, she does have monkeys, so I'm sure that it hits home for her. Although I'm not sure if they're the same type.
I don't think that matters.
They'll just look like monkeys. I don't know. Shane H. Wilder said, so this is just the Harry Harlow wire mother, cloth mother experiment? Sort of, yeah. The experiment was that this motherless baby monkey was supposed to connect with like a plush surrogate mother instead of a biological mother, and they obviously subjected this animal to undue cruelty in the process, but that's basically what's happening to Punch. Adam said, for Mary's tears, may they find plushy tears. I don't know what that means. Corey Anderson said, Mary is saying she's willing to not accept her future monkey child. LOL, JK Mary, we know you only like cats. I would never own a monkey. Just to be clear, that's way beyond the level of work I'm willing to put into having a pet. They're like the most demanding pet you could possibly have. I don't understand how Cassandra could do it.
But that was a whole thing from Dane Cook about wanting to own a monkey, about saying like he wants to own a monkey. He goes, and every time you tell somebody that, there's always that one anti-monkey person who tells you how like not of a good idea it is to own a monkey. He's like, they spit and they throw their feces and they make faces that are unacceptable in society. And he's like, that's why I want a monkey. All those reasons.
I mean, I'm probably that anti-monkey person.
There
I
you go.
don't think that's a good idea. Burned Oils said Mary trying to look tough by not crying for Punch. I told you I did see a video of Punch before I knew, you know, his name and that he was a little celebrity, and I felt for him, definitely. But I just feel like once it gets to the point where, you know, Google has like some sort of promotional deal with the zoo,
we could have had one
invested anymore.
We could have had one with the zoo and been like, punch the like button today.
Yeah, I'm good on that. Robert Delara said Punch is going to be all right.
Punch the like button, guys. Punch the like button, guys. There will be no monkey business today. We're going to get through all of these super chats.
Corey Anderson said, so Punch is more of an adult than most millennials. Yeah, Punch is, you know, maturing and learning how to get along with the rest of his monkey community. He's adulting, if you will. Shane H. Wilder said, Punch joined a monkey group. They getting a TV show and album deal?
Hey, we're the monkeys. People say we monkey around.
Is that a reference that I didn't get?
I don't know if they're referencing that, but there was a TV show called The Monkeys from well before my time.
That might be why. Corey Anderson said, if you remain anonymous, I don't believe you. For the
the Crispin Glover one, I'm sure, yeah.
I don't know. I mean, I understand why someone wouldn't want to be identified if they were accusing a high-profile individual of criminal actions, but at the same time, you didn't go to the police with it. So what are we supposed to think? Samson said, thanks, Pat the Plumber, for the gifted membership.
There you go.
We're spreading the love. Brian Bledsoe said, I'll be the right's take on Punch. These women crying over Punch while sitting in Planned Parenthood.
That is exactly the right take on it.
I don't agree with that. I think that women who have children are more likely to get emotional about stories like this than women who don't have children.
Yeah, but just in the same way that you said that Ben Shapiro might have had the wrong idea about who was complaining about his casting choice, they might have the wrong idea about who the people are that are whining about this.
So you think that it is children or women without children?
I think I don't think it's confined to either women with or without children. I think this would affect all women the same way. Not all women, but I think that, you know, having compassion, even if it's a weird type of like transposed compassion for a creature that doesn't understand emotions the same way you do. Thank you. Thank you.
I think that, well, I'm just going to say monkeys aren't capable of love.
It's like the
everyone going to get mad at me for saying that?
It's like, you know, these videos hit you. It's like the video. Have you ever seen that really famous video of the panda that keeps trying to hug the zookeeper, and the zookeeper tries to move it away, and the panda comes back and keeps trying to hug it?
I've never seen that, no.
Well, there you go. It affects you.
That sounds cute, though. Robert Delara said, Crispin Glover is a Nazi enthusiast. George McFly, say it ain't so.
Yeah.
Definitely seems that way, yeah. Corey Anderson said, hashtag Free Willard.
Like Free Willy?
I have no idea what that means.
I thought Willard was a rat or a pig. I don't remember.
Pat the Plumber said, FFS, Mary, this is not a internet show. Get it together.
That came in when your mic cut out the second time.
Oh, yeah.
It happens.
No Control said Mary should hire Serge to set up her studio.
That too also came in at that point.
I'm good on that. Thanks for the suggestion. Corey Anderson said Isaac Cappy did accuse Seth Green, though.
I did.
Yes. He accused Seth Green. He accused Steven Spielberg. However, he did not accuse Crispin Glover. Shane H. Wilder said, I will take no Lana Del Rey slander. If I could use the angry Mary and judgmental Phil emotes in super chats, I would. Well, you can use Judgmental Phil, right?
You can use it if you go and sign up and become a member.
Yeah. Yes, which I think Shane did, but I'm not sure. Pop Culture Junkie said Glover dissing Spielberg is not surprising since he sued the director. Oh, you
yeah,
got
we
that
got
one.
that one. Yep.
Corey Anderson said women that are more comfortable in LL Bean than Jimmy Choo are preferable.
Okay.
How did that come up?
I have no idea.
Also, those are both like relatively expensive brands.
Yes, but they have
they
have different demographic. I mean, they used to have different demographic. It's like Carhartt. Carhartt is now very expensive and doesn't court the audience you think it's courting.
Mm-hmm.
Corey over on Rumble says Gina Carano, aka Muscle Mommy.
I will not co-sign that.
Mm-hmm.
But okay. Robert Delara said Lana Del Rey's husband made her mac and cheese. That is true love. Yeah, and not a political statement at all. Shane H. Wilder said, okay, I'm going to go listen to Born to Die and Chemtrails Over the Country Club this weekend. It's been a while since I was listening to Lana's music often, honestly, because it's so... It does have like kind of a depressive effect, most of it. Like I don't really enjoy... I don't enjoy listening to sad music, and a lot of her music is sad music. It doesn't mean it's bad, but I need to be at a happier baseline to listen to sad music on purpose without it making my day worse.
I have done something that I never do on this channel, guys. I ended the poll, or like before the show ended, you know, I actually ended the poll today.
Oh.
Darth Vader wins with 71% of the vote. 25% say Joker, and 4% say Lex Luthor.
So, do you agree with that? Is Darth Vader like the most recognizable villain?
I do believe that is true.
Probably true. Yeah. Burned Oil said, had sleep for dinner before, just ate when I woke up. LOL. Yeah, it's not that bad. It's actually a life hack. Corey Anderson said, women will find anything to complain about. That is true. Boston said $2 for conservative Daria Wednesday Queen.
That's you.
You didn't call me a Karen today. I wonder why. What changed?
We got 10, count them 10 gifted memberships from Drummer.
Oh.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. Corey Anderson said, why is a woman dressed like that at a corporate job? I call BS. Based on the ceiling, it looks like a warehouse. So it wasn't just that her boyfriend was fake or that the video
whole thing was fake.
Her entire life is fake. I don't know. You'd be surprised what people are allowed to wear to corporate jobs these days.
No,
I mean, are dropping.
It's the same thing when you go to like a regular, you know, you go to a gas station or you go to like a Walmart and they're wearing like sweatpants and a shirt that might or might not match the color. I was like, I missed out. Like, you know, if I ever have to go back to working a regular job, I'm going to have it made. I'm going to be able to wear just regular sweatpants, and they've all got a headphone in one ear. So I'm going to be good.
I was at a Panera yesterday. Literally all of the employees were wearing AirPods.
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't agree with that. Sorenko Productions said, is there food misogynoir then? Good question. We'll have to investigate that separately. Oh, I was going to mention this earlier. Speaking of, you know, things that people assume are misogynistic and oppressive, but aren't. Yesterday, the thing literally happened to me where a man told me to smile. I was walking down the street just in the middle of the day, and this guy, he's like kind of an older guy. He said, smile, it's a good day. And I was like, okay, I mean, like, that's kind of annoying because I don't want to talk to you, but also I'm not going to make more of it than it is.
Yeah.
So what I ended up doing, I didn't say anything to him. I just went like this. Like, I just smiled really creepily at him.
So wait, so was this supposed to be sarcastic or honest? Or is it just left up to interpretation for him?
It's left up to interpretation. Okay. I could tell that it confused him.
Yeah.
But also, he confused me. So definitely fair.
Somebody pointed out in the chat, I did not know that Crispin Glover was in the movie Willard because I never saw the movie Willard, but he was. Glenn Morgan, director and writer of that movie. Glenn Morgan, of course, being very, very well known from the X-Files. So rock on.
Well, I'm related to that guy.
Yes, it's your long lost uncle.
Just thought I would mention that. I'm also related to Morgan Freeman.
Of course.
Yeah. Shane H. Wilder said, kitchen isn't getting ventilation? Turn on the Ventahood. Also, I ate that 2 gallons of stew in 3 days. Still burned more calories than I took in. Yeah, this is just incomprehensible to women. Like the idea that you can eat that volume of food and like that's actually what men need to survive.
Mm-hmm.
I cannot imagine. It's also like quite expensive, I imagine, to be a man.
Food-wise, yeah. I mean, depending on how much you're taking, the amount of beef jerky that I eat, the amount of beef jerky that I eat at work, so that I don't like feel exhausted when we go live, is you know, protein. It's all protein.
I eat like air and lost hopes. Adam,
there's a 20 here from Pop Culture Junkie. Says, I am grateful for a really great week. Let me hold on. Sorry, the chat is moving. New contacts prescription, positive health news. My stocks are up. Clients are happy. I hope you both have a fun weekend in parallel to my week that you are both grateful for by Monday. So like that we are both grateful for. Like we have to have a weekend that we are both grateful for. Let's hope so.
yes. Adam said they need to think about the gongo. Also, I saw somewhere that when I don't know what that means. WM love bomb, they're most likely cheating.
What do you wait? What do you mean?
WM means something, I guess. I don't know what it means.
Oh, women maybe? Is that for like?
No.
Somebody in the chat says Brett eats beef jerky. Yes, actual beef jerky, not Epstein file beef jerky.
Oh yeah, now if you like say that you like pizza, everyone thinks that it's some sort of subtle reference. You know, no. Sometimes you just eat pizza and it's a food item.
Yep.
Yeah. Ryan Nealbank said, "Where is the supercilious outcry for all of my stolen French fries?" I don't know what that means either. I'm like really confused right now. Am I out of the loop here? Is that a reference as well? Shane H. Wilder said, I agree with Milo. I look at some of these fancy restaurants and go $60 for a snack. Is this a restaurant for ants?
Is this a restaurant for ants?
It's not just the portion sizes, but the macros are pathetic on every meal that, you know, you can get at a restaurant these days. It's like all for women. It's very unfortunate.
What is this, a school for ants?
Seriously. Robert Delera said, I couldn't get this out on Wednesday, but Mary, just be glad those feet dangling outside are just a window washer, not Benny Blanco. I guess that's, yeah, something to be grateful for.
Well, we had
Benny Blanco is not outside my window.
And we did have your mic disconnect twice, but we didn't have your mic go haywire the way it did when you were absolutely, like, unloading on Benny Blanco on Wednesday. Like, your hatred for Benny Blanco literally broke your microphone.
It all sounded the same to me. I didn't know.
Yeah.
I just kept going. Shane H. Wilder said, okay, I tagged y'all and PCC to the story. Libby said it reminded her of The Red Shoes by Kate Bush. Libby always has astute observations and reference points. High Voltage 75 said, Mary, would you rather be trapped in a room with a chimpanzee or a pit bull? Oh. I don't like this question. Like, okay, which one do I have like a higher chance of survival? It depends on the chimpanzee and it depends on the pit bull for sure.
Yeah.
And also how long do I have to be trapped in a room with them? But like,
good question.
They can both kill me relatively instantly, right?
Yeah.
Although the chimp, well, no, the chimp has like more strength than a human male. Right?
You're screwed either way.
So I'm screwed either way.
Yeah.
It kind of doesn't even matter.
Meanwhile, I'm over here on the Rumble side of things talking about how expensive beef jerky is. Yes, it is it's prohibitively expensive. Like, there's a reason why the inside joke is like, I aspire to be rich enough to the point where I can buy beef jerky without having to worry about the cost, which is, for me, like, I don't think that's ever
the
possible.
American dream.
It is.
It's not home ownership. It's buying beef jerky without crying.
Yes.
Shane H. Wilder said there was a 60s TV show called The Monkees that was meant to parody the Beatles. They actually had good songs like Daydream Believer and I'm a Believer.
There you go.
This is news to me. Thank you.
Well,
for
that was, I
educating.
believe, the song I was singing earlier. I believe that was the theme song from the show.
Okay.
Yeah.
Jane H. Wilder said you can't use custom emotes in super chats.
Weak.
That's unfortunate.
But you know how you can use custom emotes? If you sign up for a channel membership. That's how you can do that.
But like in normal chats,
Exactly.
not super chats.
Exactly.
That sucks. Boss N said, my bad, Karen, conservative queen.
There you go.
Thank you for that correction. Okay, do we have any Rumble rants? I believe we're all caught up on the super chats.
We've got one more from Corey Anderson. Says, do you prefer cold rain or warm rain? I say cold, he says.
What, whether it's raining in the summer or the winter?
I guess.
I don't know. Neither. Warm rain, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
Sure.
There you go.
Neither, ideally.
We are all caught up on the super chats and the Rumble rants, just making sure about all that. Also, guys, on top of just still shilling for the new merch, which everybody should go and check out if they do have the time to go and do this, it is tagged in this episode. It's in the description box as well as the pinned comment for new shirts and new merchandise. I will also be on Timcast IRL again tonight, so that should be interesting. Last night was wild. Ian was on another level last night.
Yeah,
so.
you said that, but like you didn't really explain what Ian said that was so crazy.
He had more enthusiasm than I could muster ever in any moment in his, like, my hope is that when we have our firstborn, I can match half of that energy. When me and Olivia have our firstborn, I need to match half of Ian's energy last night.
I would love to channel that energy wherever he gets it from.
I love it. I believe that's all the super chats, though. So, all right. Guys, before we go, would you hit the like button on this video? Subscribe to the channel if you are new here and you have not subscribed here yet already. Please and thank you. Remember to share the episodes and the segments out with everybody. We're also going to be implementing new times for the segment uploads. I don't know if this is really going to like affect anybody here who's watching this live because you might not catch the segments. But instead of doing 8, 11, and 2 for our weekday segments, we are going to be doing 10, 12, and 2 for the weekday segments. There's also kind of 7 p.m. uploads kind of sporadically throughout the week depending on how much content we acquire. And then on the weekends, they will be 10, 12, 2, and 5, and 7 p.m. as well on some either Saturdays or Sundays. So that's when you can check out all of the segments for PCC. If you don't have a chance to watch the show live, you can always catch up that way. So Mary, where can they find you?
Couple more super chats, though. No, Greg Duvier said, I like turtles and the left lane is for crime.
I like turtles.
Shane H. Wilder said, in my hometown, a lady had a pet chimp and it took her face off. F them chimps. I ain't about that life. Okay, so like, yeah, it's a lose-lose situation. I don't know. I guess I would die either way. Anyways, you guys can send me validation on Instagram. That is Mary Archived. Or you can send me hate on X. That is also Mary Archived. And help me get TikTok famous. That is also Mary Archived.
Perfect. If you guys want to follow me, I am on Instagram and on X at Brett Dasovic on both of those platforms. PCC is live 5 days a week, Monday through Friday, 3 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, which is, of course, noon Pacific. We are on Amazon Music, Apple Podcasts, Pandora, and Spotify if you would like to listen rather than watch the show. Also, remember, we did get all of the Spotify issues worked out, so if you missed some of those episodes, you will now be able to check out the Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday episodes, which were missing earlier in the week. The Thursday episode's up there as well, and I will be shortly uploading the Friday episode. So if you listen to this podcast, you can go back and listen to all of those episodes that you may not have caught earlier in the week. If you want to follow us on social media, we are on Twix at popculture_show, Facebook at Pop Culture Crisis, Instagram at Pop Culture Crisis Pod. Guys, we will be back with another episode on Monday. We'll see y'all then. Bye. Everybody.